Choice boards come in many shapes, sizes, designs, and it's kind of how you want to go about this approach. I have lots of examples for you in the manual, plus some templates. Now, choice boards can be wonderful and they can really accommodate different students' learning needs and styles. These are also great for using if you're using the universal design for learning. So let's first take a look at an example choice board. This is one. And you, of course, can use this template, but they've got different choice board activities for review. They have step one, things they must do. And then as they go through, lots of different choice for all of these items. So that is one example. Now, in our choice board design manual, you are going to find a lot of resources. First, what is a choice board? There's a video, examples of choice boards on this Pinterest board. So, tons of different information in here and resources. I have got so much for you guys. And then these are divided by ways to give your students choice in the way they learn the information. So, instructional tools, here's a bunch of resources, and divided by reading and writing, auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Not that one student fits in just one of these categories, but kind of to give a variety and make sure you're using a lot of different learning styles. You can pick and choose from these. Now, our student school district has access to a lot of these. A lot of these are free. Some of them are free to a certain point. So just be aware of that. Then we have formative assessment tools. So this is how to check your students' understanding in different ways using those different learning styles. And then finally, giving them the ability to show off what they've learned in an authentic way. These are a lot of great design and tools for recording and visual design and ways kinesthetic learners can show through gameplay and things like that. Finally, I have divided up by Bloom's taxonomy some different ideas for digital tools, for different ways they can apply their knowledge, create something, show that they understand, etc. Down here, I have choice board tutorials. These are different tutorials in different styles because there's so many different ways to design a choice board. And then finally, I've got a ton of templates here on different choice boards, some tic-tac-toe boards, games. There are so many fun things you can do. And Slides Mania has a ton of choice board designs for Google Slides that you could also use. And finally, I have a Google Drive folder full of choice board templates. So, not short on templates for this project, but let's begin by showing you how to design a choice board. So, you need to decide what learning goals or standards the choice board would address and a central topic theme. It might be for review of a huge unit, but what is this choice board going to be teaching? I do have three basic blueprints, but you are welcome to use any of those templates from the design manual, from the Pinterest board, from the Google Drive folder, or from Slides Mania. I'm going to be using this third one, which is a tic-tac-toe style choice board, to show you how I would design one based on some American holidays. So I'm going to come over here and click Use Template. Once I've got my template, I need to come up with digital activities to teach and to have them show their what their understanding is. And then I need to write instructions and then come up with a rubric or checklist of how I would evaluate their learning. So let's do this. So, first off, I have my choice board. This particular one, students would start at number 5. So, this is an activity that all students will need to do. And so I have a little American holiday introduction article that I want everyone to read. And in this article, um, sorry, on this particular square, there's a hyperlink already designed into it for you that takes them to slide 5. So it goes here and it jumps down to that slide, activity 5 directions. So we are going to have them read the article about the differences between these American holidays. And then I'm going to give them a link to this article on this slide. And here is, 1 second, let me pull up the article again. Okay, here is the article. So I'm going to copy that, go back to my choice board, and put the hyperlink to that article. Now, I could have just put the hyperlink to the article here and just put click here. However, I like having these slides so I can give more directions. I can also add more links. And when I go to do the formative and summative assessment checks on this choice board, I will be able to put places where they can put their information and links to rubrics. So that's why I like having the slide for each of the squares. But it's your choice board. You design it how you would like. All right, so they first are reading this article. Next, I'm going to start with the blue squares, and this is going to teach them about the different holidays. So, not only are they going to get to choose which holiday to study, they're going to choose which way to study it and how they want to be assessed upon it. So, we are going to start off with Independence Day. And on Independence Day, they're going to be able to read an article about Independence Day and take a quiz. So on this slide, so I'm going to jump to this slide, which is slide 3. This one you can remove slide 2. It is going to give you some information you might want to review over. But on this slide, they are going to learn about Independence Day, if they so choose, by reading an article and taking a Google Forms quiz. So, the article they are going to read on the 4th comes from ReadWorks, and I am going to share this with them and copy that link, place it here, click on the link, and insert the link. Then I'm going to make a Google Forms quiz on the 4th of July. You can add lots of different quiz questions, but by simply going to Google Forms, creating a Google form, definitely give it a first and last name question. And then you have your question. And here are all your different question types that you can use. And then you'll put in your answer options. Now, if you've made this a quiz, so if you haven't, go over to settings and make this a quiz, and then you'll have the self-grading options. When you click on answer key, you can choose which one is correct and assign points. Then click done. When you're ready to put this in your choice board, come up here and click send link and grab that link, copy that link, and put it back here on your choice board. Now, you aren't required to use any of these that I'm showing. I just wanted to show you a bunch of different ways to do these. All right, so we have our first square, reading an article and taking a quiz. So more for our reading students that like to read to consume information. Next, we're going to go to our auditory learners about Flag Day. And they can listen to this and answer the questions. So, this is going to be from Discovery Education about Flag Day. And they have some different things to read and to listen to about Flag Day. So, here is different things. All right, now because I'm using Discovery Ed and this is a video quiz, sorry, a studio quiz, it has some places where students can put in information. So, studio quiz questions. Now, I could just give them the link, so I could come up here and um, copy the link, but I want to assign this through Discovery Ed so I have record of who completed it and who didn't. And Discovery Ed can give me that. If I assign it through Discovery Ed, click next, click a start date, and a due date. Now, if you're going to be using this in the school year, you might just want to put a placeholder with the link to the Discovery Ed with a reminder to yourself that you need to come back and assign it. Now, I'm going to give them the link to our Clever portal. I'm going to just do everything before teacher, and that will give me the link to tell students to go to Discovery Ed and complete the assignment that has been assigned on Flag Day if they choose to do this activity. So over here on Activity 2 slide, I have my directions built, and this one is about Flag Day. And then I'm going to give them that link to the Clever portal, and it tells them to go to the Clever portal and log into their Discovery Ed and complete the Flag Day activity. So I have 1 and 2, so they're learning about independence, then or they can learn about Flag Day. The next is about Veterans Day, and for Veterans Day, I decided to go more for my kinesthetic learners with a Nearpod with lots of interactives in this Nearpod. So over here on the directions, I'm going to tell them to complete this Nearpod, and it has formative assessments built into it, similar to the Discovery Ed Studio board. So I will be checking their learning as they go on both of those with those check for understandings that are already built into both of those. So here on Veterans Day, they have some drag and drop activities. For more of my kinesthetic learners, I've got a collaborative board and a drawing. So to do this, I found this in the Nearpod library. I previewed it at this point, and I'm going to click Teach, and I'm going to do a student pace lesson because they're going to be able to do this at their own pace. I can open that up for a time period. This might be another one that you need to make note that you need to go and get this link at a later time. But you can set that due date. You can assign it through Google Classroom, but I'm just going to copy that link for the choice board, and I'm going to put it here on the choice board. So far we've got they can read, listen, complete this Nearpod. And then finally, another one is going to be Memorial Day where they can watch this Brain Pop. And throughout the Brain Pop, there are going to be questions that they will stop and watch. So I'm going to put in my directions and a link to this activity. And this one is going to be about Memorial Day. And here is the Brain Pop on Memorial Day. I can do the same thing that I did with Discovery Ed, is assign it, send them to Clever, and have them log into Clever and go to Brain Pop. But for this particular one, I am just going to give them the link and be on their honor system that they completed it. But if I want the results to the video questions as they go through the video, I would need to assign it in BrainPop, give them a link to Clever, have them go to BrainPop through Clever, log into their BrainPop portal, and then it's very simple. They go to Clever, click on BrainPop. Once they're in BrainPop, it's going to tell them they have an assignment on Memorial Day once you've assigned it. And you can just click assign right here to assign that BrainPop. All right, so we have done all the ones that teach about the different holidays. Now I want them and formatively assess. So I had a quiz here. They had activities in Discovery Ed. They had Nearpod interactive activities, and they had Brain Pop video questions as they went. So not only were they learning, they were formatively assessing, and now I want them to authentically show me what they've learned in these. So since they have to do 5, they'll make that tic-tac-toe, and I'm going to give them some stars to make that tic-tac-toe with. So for example, let me do one more. They could go Memorial Day to 6, they could go Independence Day, and then they'd complete 9. They'd do Flag Day and then complete 8. And if they chose Veterans Day, they would complete 7. So I'm actually going to start with Memorial Day. So if they chose to do Memorial Day on this side, I want them to make a concept map of Memorial Day on this side. So those students that like to watch videos, the more visual learners will be making a concept map, more of a kinesthetic, but also a visual. So let me get my concept map up. So I actually have this from Google Drawing. It's a concept map, just a template where they would write Memorial Day and they'd come up with secondary and then third ideas. So I made this a template. So anything you make in Google, right now it's on edit. So this is how you'll always see it. This little thing at the top says edit at the end of your URL. Just change that to either copy and they will get this or template preview, which I like to do because then they can see what they're making a copy of. So it's up to you how you want to do that. So I'm going to give them this link. So over here on this slide for Memorial Day, I've got to give them their directions. And I'm going to say Memorial Day mind map. Give them a link to that mind map. And now I'm going to give them a place to insert their link. I'm actually going to do it a little bit different. There we go. So I just insert a text box where they can insert their link here. So once they have used that template, they've filled in the information, they would need to share this with you. So you'll have share rights. So you might want to put that in the directions that they need to add you as a collaborator so you can see what they did, but then they'd come back here and add that link as their example. Now, one other thing I would definitely do is give them a link to a rubric on how they would be graded on this. All right. So if they're doing the Memorial Day Brain Pop, they're making a concept map. If they are reading about Independence Day, I decided to have more of those students that like to read do an audio to make a podcast about Independence Day. So I'm going to have them create a podcast about Independence Day. And a really easy way to do this, let me jump to that slide, is to use a recording. It's very simple and free, and it's called Vocaroo. We do have other sites where they can make audio recordings, but this is so simple. Let me show you how it works. So that is the link to Vocaroo. They go here, they record their answer. Once they click stop, that's it. And they save and share, and they would just copy and paste that link over here into where they'd insert their link for this particular one. Once again, I would probably want to give them a checklist of what goes in the recording or rubric on how they would be graded. I would give them that. All right. Next, if they did listen and answered questions to Flag Day, they are going to be making a poster in Canvas. So those listener students that chose to listen are going to be more visual and show me what they learned about Flag Day in Canvas. So I'm kind of giving them options that they have to use multiple modalities. All right. So here in Canva, I found this template, but if you go to Canva, you can find tons of templates. and use any of those, and you can give them that template, or you can just send them there and they can find their own templates to design a visual for this. I liked this particular one where they have to kind of write about it and find images. So here on the choice board, let's go to that particular square and give them directions on what they will be doing for Flag Day to show their understanding. They're going to make a poster about Flag Day, and they are going to use this template. However, I could just let them go to Canva, and I just put canva.com, give them a little more choice and freedom in what kind of poster. Once again, I would definitely want to create a rubric or checklist on what needs to be included. And then when they are done, a place to put their link to their Canva design. If you're unfamiliar with Canva, if I use this one, once they have designed this poster, flyer, newspaper article, whatever you want to call it, whatever they're making, they'd come up here and click share. Just like with Google, they would need to put in my email address and let me be a viewer, or they can change it to anyone with the link can view, can edit, copy that link, and put that link back here on their choice board to show what they designed, or however you want to work it in your class. Once again, it is your choice board, and how you want your students to give you their information is up to you. Maybe you're going to have them just attach it in Google Classroom. Finally, another idea for this choice board is after the kinesthetic learners completed the Nearpod, I am going to have them be visual and create a book. Well, kind of more writing. No, I was thinking more writing. Okay. Create a book about Veterans Day in Book Creator. And I created a library in Book Creator for American holidays. And they would come up here and click New Book. There are some templates they could use, or I could even assign a template, but they could create a blank book, add it here to our Nearpod, our Book Creator library. So here would be the new book. They could put all their information in there, and they can share that book with me. They could click share. However, you will have access in Book Creator to all their books. So they wouldn't necessarily have to, but to keep it really consistent on the directions, I would probably have them put the link, just because all the other summative assessments have that link. So I would definitely come and have them put that link just to keep it consistent. But what you'd want to do is give them that invite link to the library so they could go in to the library, create their book. And once again, I would give them a rubric or checklist of what needs to be in their Veterans Day Book Creator book. Now, that is just one way to create a choice board, and it is completely up to you how you want to create your choice board. There are so many different examples out there. This is just one way, and I just wanted to show you a lot of different tools that we have access to make this American Holiday Choice Board something you might think about using all of our tools from our school district. All right, when you go back to the digital choice board guide, the schematics, it just needs to have a learning goal, hyperlinks to resources or digital tools, directions, student friendly, rubrics for students. It took you 5 hours to build during this course. All right, please email me if you have any questions about your digital choice board.